Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today I've got a requested video for you guys. Actually, it's been requested a bunch. One of my most requested ones that I've not gotten to. 10 great colognes or fragrances for older guys. So this is going to be a list centered around fragrances that have a nice, mature, gentlemanly vibe to them, but they don't come across smelling like an old grandpa or something like that, for lack of better words. Before we jump into it, I do want to say really quickly, even if you're an older guy, if you like the way that younger fragrances smell, wear those. And if you're a younger guy and you like how more mature fragrances smell, wear them. There is no age cutoff for any fragrance. You know, you don't buy a fragrance and you look at the bottle and it says, oh, I can only use this if I'm 35 and up, so can't wear it. So keep in mind this whole thing that certain fragrances can only be used by people that are certain ages or during certain seasons or any of that other stuff. That's all really just a construct. It doesn't exist. Wear what you want when you want, as long as you like it, okay? With that out of the way, let's jump into it. We're gonna kick things off with one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Creed Green Iris Tweed. And if you want something similar to this, but you don't want to spend as much money, you could get something like Cool Water from Davidoff. This is infinitely cheaper than Green Iris Tweed. Well, technically not infinitely, but close to like 10% the cost, we'll say. That is, though, assuming you buy at discounters online. So FragranceNet, FragranceX, places like that. If you're buying full retail, Cool Water is not as much of a deal at that point. And I know this is getting complicated already, but if you want a clone of Green Iris Tweed and you don't want Cool Water, you could get Très Nuit from Armaf, which looks like this, and that's also very inexpensive. This has lemon verbena, iris, violet leaf, mint, and ambergris as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this is a really green, fresh, clean fragrance with a great air of sophistication to it. To me, this is timeless. It came out in the mid-'80s, but it still rocks today just like it did back then. And really, so does Cool Water. That's why it's still around. It's why it hasn't been discontinued, because people still buy it, people still wear it, and the reason they do is because it works. And when people wear it, they get positive feedback, and then they buy another bottle, and the fragrance lasts forever. Well, in terms of projection and performance, it doesn't last forever. In terms of it being sold and being on the market, it'll last forever. So Green Iris Tweed starts this off. This is a fantastic office fragrance, great in the springtime and the summertime, great daytime fragrance, great casual fragrance as well. Next up, Christian Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. This one is a complete classic. It's got lemon, basil, and oak moss, along with vetiver and actually a whole bunch of notes. This fragrance right here is one of those quintessential old school gentlemanly scents. It is another daytime fragrance that is fantastic in warmer weather and also cool weather, though if it were dead of winter, I'd probably go with something else. When you first spray it on, the citrus is a little bit sharp, and a lot of fragrances released around this time frame are going to share that kind of feeling in the opening. You've got a green touch from the basil. As it dries down, the focus is mainly going to be on the oak moss along with a whole bunch of other supporting notes. You're getting Christian Dior quality here, absolute classic fragrance, Sauvage Eau de Toilette, great choice. This next one doesn't get a whole bunch of love, but I think it's nice. I think it's really good. Intenso from Dolce & Gabbana. It has lavender, tobacco, hay, and watery notes, along with some sandalwood. That's some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one, for me personally, is an improvement over Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. If you could give me only one, or I could take only one of those fragrances, it would be this one 10 times out of 10. This has a lot of versatility to it, more than you might expect. It's a fantastic scent for the office, and it also works on evenings out. So you can wear this on a date, you can wear it in more close quarters situations, because the projection here is not really monstrous, but it's good enough to get you through a day or an evening. It's a sophisticated scent with a touch of sweetness, but not too much. It's a fragrance that has maybe a slight mature vibe to it, but younger guys can pull it off as well. So if you're an older man, it's gonna work really well because it has that touch of maturity, but it doesn't come across too too old school, too dated, we'll say. Now this next fragrance shares some similarities with Sauvage Eau de Toilette, but this one to me is a little bit modernized. The citrus is smoother, it's a little bit sweeter, and not as sharp in the opening. It's also a lot cheaper. It is Mustache Eau de Toilette from Rochas. It's got lemon, bergamot, lavender, musk, and oak moss as some of the notes in the fragrance. So this one essentially is gonna give you that throwback, classic masculine smell, that vibe, only like I said, a little bit smoother and a little bit sweeter. And just like Eau Sauvage, has a really classy bottle. Obviously, presentation and bottles aren't everything, but when you have a really nice one, kind of helps complete the package. And I would tell you that for me personally, between Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette and Mustache Eau de Toilette, if I were going to pick only one to wear nowadays, it would be Mustache. Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette is an absolute classic. And if we're talking just straight up ingredient quality, that's going to be a bit higher than this. So both fragrances done in a similar style, gonna be worn similar places, but they go about what they're doing in a little bit of a different way. And I'm gonna keep this rolling with another fragrance that I think is just absolutely lights out, fantastic. Platinum Egoist from Chanel. Lavender, rosemary, geranium, and once again, oak moss, some of the notes in this fragrance. And I swear we're gonna move on into different styles of scents here in just a moment, but this one you would wear in a lot of the same situations. You would wear Mustache and Eau Sauvage. The opening here is nice and smooth. It's not potentially harsh, it's not sharp. It does have a little metallic touch to it, but that's pretty quickly swallowed up by the lavender, and the lavender here has a nice natural sweetness to it. It's very clean, it's a suit and tie kind of fragrance, an office fragrance, one that you can wear formally very, very easily. And if you ask me from the house of Chanel, what's a really nice fragrance for an older gentleman, this is one of the first things that pops into my head. And this is actually my second bottle of the stuff. I had a 100 ml, went through all of it over the years and just bought this one to replace it. This next one is very inexpensive from discounters. It is Aqua Essenziale Colonia from Salvatore Ferragamo. And this fragrance is gonna give you a very similar scent profile to Aqua de Parma Colonia, which is a good deal more than this one. It has bergamot, clary sage, lavender, and ambroxan as some of the notes in the fragrance. This one's gonna give you a very brisk, fresh, herbaceous green opening. Bit of citrus in there from the bergamot as well, and it's been described as a classic Italian style cologne, which really harkens back to the association with Aqua de Parma. This is another great one for spring and summer days, very hot days. Fantastic to the office as well, super safe. Pretty much everybody's gonna like the way that this one smells. For the price, it is an absolute steal. The entire line, the entire Aqua Essenziale line, is very solid if you're looking for cheap fragrances. If you're an older gentleman, of the three fragrances in the line, I would say this is your best bet, and it's not close. Now something a little bit different, something that's a great classy night out fragrance, a great classy date night fragrance with a mature vibe, and the bottle is stunning. It's Hypnos from Lancome. That is just a sick looking presentation in my opinion. I love that twisted bottle design. This has mint, lavender, amber, and cardamom as some of the notes in the fragrance. Now, for some people, when they hear cardamom, especially when you mention it as a date night type of fragrance and say it has cardamom, they think La Nuit de l'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. This, though, doesn't really go too much in that direction. Yes, cardamom is one of the main notes in this fragrance, but it doesn't come across as sweet as it does in YSL's La Nuit. Here, it's a little bit more reined in, and it's going for more of almost a dusty warmth with the lavender playing along with the cardamom. Of course, that warmth is aided by the amber and the dry down, which gives it a little bit of sweetness, but it never really approaches La Nuit de l'Homme levels of sweetness. So that makes this fragrance a little bit more reined in, a little bit more buttoned up, a little bit more classy instead of trying to be outwardly sexy. It does still have a bit of that sex appeal, no doubt. It's just not bashing you over the head with it. This next one is just absolutely killer for versatility. This is an anytime, anywhere, any place, any season kind of fragrance. Terre d'Hermes from Hermes. There's a pure parfum version, there's an eau de toilette version, there's the eau intense vetiver version, and eau très fraîche. For me, I would suggest there's the original. the Eau de Toilette. My little thing is falling down. I will say these bottles are tough. This is built like a tank. The reason that this falls down is because I dropped it from about 6 feet because I had it up on like a post taking photos of it, and I wasn't looking, and I guess the wind, it was pretty windy that day, knocked it over, and it fell 6 feet directly onto concrete, not onto grass, concrete. And I will show you the damage that it did to this bottle. I could be lucky, but this thing is tough. Right here, there's a little chip right on the edge, and then there's a scuff right here. That is it. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, pretty tough. But it did make the little twist thing want to come down more often, kind of, yeah. This one has orange, pepper, vetiver, and cedar as some of the notes in the fragrance. It's really well known for having this dirty orange opening. So it's got this little bit of earthiness in there. Some people don't like that. Some people will smell that and go, oh no, is that soil earthiness? Ugh. Don't be afraid of it, okay? It's not that bad. It smells fantastic in the air. It's just got a little bit of gusto to it, you know? It's got a little bit of character. Deal with it. It also has a flint kind of vibe, a flint note in there. So that really carries along with the earthiness in the opening. One of the stars of the show with that is the vetiver as the fragrance dries down. And that really helps solidify this as an enormously versatile scent. Vetiver is one of the most versatile masculine notes, especially base notes, for a fragrance to rest upon. It really just, depending on the way the vetiver is used anyway, can make it where the fragrance can be worn any season, day or night. And for me, Terre d'Hermes is that. In the home stretch, next up, Bottega Veneta Pour Homme. Pine, juniper, leather, and fir, some of the notes in the fragrance. This one is gonna be for guys that like that 80s style, that piney, leathery style, made very popular with fragrances like Polo Green, for example. So you want something that has those facets, but you want it to be more modern. You don't want it to be quite as aggressive, abrasive, or rough. Bottega Veneta, right here. So this one is going to harken back to those fragrances from the past, but it's not going to smell quite as dated, if you want to call it that. It is a fragrance that's a little bit expensive, even at discounters, and it is sometimes hard to find. One of those scents that sells out, comes in stock, sells out, comes in stock, you know the drill. But Bottega Veneta, if you have a hankering for something from the 80s in that style, check that out. All right, last fragrance. This is if you really want a blue fragrance to pull you compliments, but you want it to have a good amount of maturity to it, sophistication, a little bit of darkness, richness, depth, etc. Sauvage Parfum. This has citrus, sandalwood, frankincense, and tonka as some of the notes in the fragrance. For me, it's not my favorite in the Sauvage line, but if you're looking for the most mature fragrance in the Sauvage line, it is this one. I don't think it's close. So with this fragrance, you are gonna get that Sauvage attractability, that attention-grabbing, compliment-getting nature. Yeah, how do you like that? That's the Sauvage compliment voice. The incense in here helps set it off. It's not overly strong. It just lends this nice, light smokiness to the base of the fragrance that really helps sell this as a more mature take on the DNA. You won't find as much of that metallic ambroxany feel that you're especially gonna find in the Eau de Toilette and even to an extent in the Eau de Parfum. Instead, things here are more smoothed out and warm. So if you're looking for a great, anytime, versatile, compliment pulling kind of fragrance, but you want it to have maturity and you still want that modern feel, Sauvage Parfum. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Shout out to everybody out there that requested this video. I'll probably make some more in the future because there are so many fragrances I wanted to put here that I left out. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.